call. Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Here.
Okay, we have a public hearing by Bordeaux Brothers. I need a motion to go into public hearing. This is postponed from last meeting. Motion by Bruce West, seconded by
Oh, second.
Joe. Roll call. Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Yep.
I vote yes. Okay, we have a public hearing now on area variance and special use approval for Bordeaux Brothers, application number 25004. This was tabled from last month to the Fairfield County. Is there any public comment? Read the application through again since we have a crowd here. Furnish the names of the adjoining landowners, New York State Electric and Gas, Lavoie and Matthews. It's for an area variance of a setback of 20 feet on the side, 13 feet in height on the silo, and 60 feet on an elevator. Describe why the area variance is necessary. The dryer will be located 10 feet from the property line. Though an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby property owners. And the answer is no. Existing silos and dryers are already there. Can the building or structure be constructed on a lot without the area variance by changing the location or size of the building or structure? No. Proposed elevator will be utilized by existing silos. Describe the impacts, if any, to neighboring properties if the variance is granted. None. See attached information. And we have all kinds of information here. We also have the special use approval forms. Describe the location and size of the proposed project. 2 silos, a dryer, and a bucket elevator. Describe the proposed property, commercial, corn storage area. Describe the building you propose to construct. 2 silos, 21 feet by 53, dryer, 10 feet by 30 feet by 15 feet in height, with a bucket elevator, 100-foot height. Describe the use of the property currently. It's commercial dry corn storage drying operation. The land use of the adjoining properties is the New York State Electric and Gas Substation and abandoned warehouse. We have diagrams. And we had questions last month about the height of the elevator and whether it would be a problem with New York State Electric and Gas. And the county is supposed to send the information. Mr. Bordeaux, I think you attended.
Yes, I did.
So with that, is there any comments from the public?
Yes, this is Joan Duquette. I just wish that it would have been done after instead of before. To have everything done first and then come into the meeting for the zoning meeting is not exactly the way to do things.
Yes, it's sitting here as volunteers, unpaid. 3 or 4 incidences in the last 6 months, people have gone ahead and done things without permits, which is very upsetting. We understand Mr. Bordeaux's problem, but he should have come to us, and that was all discussed last week. Does the board have any questions? Okay, we have a motion to terminate the public hearing and come back into the public regular session. Second that motion? Seconded by Joe. Roll call. Bruce? Denise? Joe and I vote yes. We are now in a public session on this item. Mr. Bordeaux, have anything to say?
No, nothing that we didn't cover from the last meeting. If there's any questions, I will try to answer them.
Our office is called down to the county, and Julie will tell us.
We voted on it last week and local also. I think we had more detail.
They looked at it and they were satisfied with the information that was supplied. As far as the MISEC information, they had a few questions as far as the style, height, documentation, etc. That's local issue. I'm not sure how many votes for, but
We don't have any paperwork on it. Just a phone call.
they're satisfied with the information.
None of the public has any comment? Okay. Next point is to have a motion to approve the application 25004 of Torgo Brothers. Motion by Joe, seconded by do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bruce. Roll call. Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Yes.
Ann?
I'm going to abstain because
And I vote yes. So we have 4. So that is approved, correct? Mr. Wood? Right. Correct. So you're all set. We hope that next time that you build something, that, and it's that much of a economic problem, that we'd like to know ahead of time.
Well, I think I explained that the last time. It was a last-minute decision only based on the amount of acres that are left in the field. It was a high yield. Farmers are fortunate to have a strong corn crop. And, not that I really wanted to do this, you kind of pushed into it. And the people don't have any place to go with these crops, and I agreed to do this, to a number of them. So, yes, not that I wanted to break the rules, only that it takes a long time for this to go through the process.
So we want to support business and industry in our area, not suppress it in any way, but we do have guides and regulations to follow.
Back tomorrow, we're going to get a building permit application.
That hurts more.
Just if you can give us some kind of idea out there in the beginning of the summer or something, some kind of idea, say, you have to go to Mr. Teacher and say, I think we're going to need to do something else. Keep this in the back of your mind, write him a short letter, just so we're notified for something that's coming up.
No, and just, if I can add something, I got going from the minutes from the last meeting, some comments that Mickey had made regarding conversations he had with myself, and those were all very accurate. As I heard from most of the board and Mrs. Duquette, the laws in this town are there for a reason, and Mickey does his best to enforce those rules. And I understand sometimes it may take a month or a month and a half or 2 months to get certain things through. There has to be some planning done by applicants when they're even anticipating something like that is going to happen, and they have to work with me. The other thing that really kind of bothered me about this project was Mickey apparently had issued a stop work order, which essentially was, for lack of a better term, ignored. But frankly, if I had known about that earlier, he had come to see me, and the board had authorized him to take the necessary action. He could have a judge to issue an injunction to stop the work there. Now, you hate to do that, but again, the town has rules for reasons, and there are rules to make sure that things are done safely, and make sure engineering plans are submitted with certain projects that are necessary. So if someone gets hurt on these projects later on, they don't come back to the town saying, well, how come you didn't do your job? So, the rules are there for a reason, and I know Mickey does the best job he can to kind of enforce them, and certainly we need to support him to make sure that they're done.
The next thing on the agenda is we have a public hearing on David Champlain, an area variance number 25505 and 25507. We need a motion to go to public hearing on this. Motion by Denise, seconded by Ann. Roll call. Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Yep.
Ann? I vote yes. Okay, this is an area variance for 634 Dubois Road. It says, please furnish names for joining landowners. We have Donald Knuff and Ben Nelson with Duke. Variance from a setback in the amount of 15 feet. Describe why the area variance is necessary. Septic and leach fields located directly behind proposed new mobile home. Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby property owners if this variance is granted? No, removing older home to be replaced by a new mobile home. Can the building or structure be constructed on the lot without an area variance by changing the location or size of the building? No. Location of well and septic is not able to be moved. Are there any impacts to neighboring properties? None. Was the alleged hardship self-created? No. Lot a pre-existing non-conforming size. We have a tax map where it is. Driving. Is there any comments from the public on the application of David Trombley? Any comments from our officials?
Do we entertain both of them at the same time?
I only have this one.
One is for a mobile home. There's a place on there.
I don't seem to have another.
Can we entertain both of them?
We have an area variance, but the fact that there's going to be a mobile home constructed on the other parcel, is that in a zone that doesn't allow a mobile home?
No, they're allowed.
This is the same one I have. What's
Okay,
the
so
other?
why is,
He's a gentleman a couple months ago that had the one lot he wanted to make.
That's what I read.
They were both non-conforming lots, so he wanted to split them in such a way that one lot would be extremely non-conforming and the other one, and then we sort of reached an agreement, I think halfway or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
It was presented last month and tabled it because
Are these both area variance?
didn't have a map.
Yes.
One's for the property, and the other one's for the mobile home on.
Okay, so this was for the properties. I'll read this through. It's a variance on minimum lot size. We are selling the 634 Duval Road parcel, but need to increase the size of our lot at 640 Duval Road prior to selling in order to ensure accessibility to our house in back of the property, or is it horse? Horse. Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood? No. Lot size is currently under the required minimum, therefore reducing it will not change the character of the property. Can the building be constructed or structure constructed on the lot without an area variance? There are no plans to add any buildings other than the one that is currently on the property. Describe impacts, if any, to neighboring properties. We currently own both parcels of land, want to increase the lot size of the 640 Duval Road address. Was the alleged hardship self-created? No, the boundaries were in existence when we purchased the property. So it's the same property, just different.
maybe I don't understand the proposal, because looking at the tax map, it says the lot number 55 measures about 116, and lot 54 measures about 132. At least according to this plan, one lot says 114, and one lot says 131. Yeah, this is the survey, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly.
Right, I want 114 what? Next to the property lines were.
I mean, the tax map is the survey map, and that's understandable. But I'm trying to figure out what they're changing, because what was mentioned, don't see if it can coincide with what's on the tax map. Secondly, another thing the board should recall is that I believe this, when this went to the Clinton County Planning Board, they denied the application, determined it was a countywide issue. So again, you need a majority plus one vote,
What was their reason for not?
because they figured they didn't, I'm trying to remember exactly what they said, but it was something along the lines of.
Countywide impact.
Yeah, because they were already substandard lots, they didn't want to, I guess, promulgate that continuing. And I think that was an issue with that, as I recall. There is, I haven't seen the decision on that.
I do have it now, and I'll read it for you. Clinton County Planning Board at September 7th, 05 meeting determined by a vote of 8-0, with one abstention, to recommend disapproval of this request for the following justification forwarded to the town. Creation or a further division of existing undersized lots has a negative intercommunity and countywide impact on negatively impacting the community character through progressively increasing the density of development beyond the planned within the community. Doesn't sound right. Areas that lack public water and sewer are more environmentally vulnerable to dense development, as well as become contaminated by sewage, effluent, and current septic system failed with no suitable place for a replacement system. The rural character of the community is also impacted by dense development. The application, as submitted, does not provide adequate justification to create a greater substandard lot of the southern parcel. The precedent that will be set will encourage further requests for smaller lots and lot splits that zoning and comprehensive planning allows, and can result in a cumulative impact of smaller lot development in the area. So they disapprove for those reasons. A lot of complicated.
At that time, he was gonna split it, so it was gonna leave one lot 82 feet width. The other lot was gonna be 136, I believe. We discussed that and wanted more of an even split. Was the recommendation at the last meeting.
Yeah. It looks like one lot would have been 86 by 156, and one would have been 162 by 156. And at that meeting, I think the board told Mr. Champlain that, you know, they had a big problem with that proposal, and asked him to probably review his application to see if there was some other way that he could achieve what he was attempting to do.
Didn't he do another application, Julie, with the measurements that he was gonna?
Well, we just started the sketch, it doesn't show up.
It says one lot is going to be 114, which I'm going to assume is probably the northernmost lot, lot 55. Then it said the southernmost lot looks like it's going to be 131.
That really doesn't change the property line now, maybe it's the opposite line?
No, but there, if you look,
It adjusted by a couple of feet.
but if you look up at the top, it says increase to 29 feet, it's 9 feet now. So I'm assuming that would be 134 on the left-hand side, and then the decrease on the other side is going to be a 111. Right? It says increase to 20, that's what I'm reading.
What are you looking at?
Right here.
The same sketch?
So he's proposing.
See up on where it says garage, it's increased to 29 feet?
Okay.
It's 9 feet now?
Okay, so maybe the 114 and 113, what was this?
So basically, it
Right.
swaps the
Yeah,
property
so
lines, so this
I'm
one's
assuming
but it swaps the
that
signs.
he's increasing one, the left-hand one to 130, number 55 to 134,
So one can be 134 feet,
decreasing the other to 111.
111.
So which one is gonna be 111, property 54 or 55?
According to what it says here.
I think 54 would be.
Be 111
Yep.
instead of 132?
Yep.
He's putting the house at 55.
Has the county re-examined this since September?
And the parcel.
I'm not so sure the county continued to change that much. It's still, I mean, it's certainly not a substantial request as was sought a couple of months ago, but it's still,
But this is
we're adjusting lot lines on some standard size lots.
But they want to make lot 55. Right? Is the trailer going on the lot that you want to live on? That's going on the neighbor's lot?
Right.
Okay,
634
gotcha.
is
Okay.
the trailer.
Okay, so does this have to go back to the county?
Well, we don't have a new application, we already have an existing application. I mean, if the applicant wants to send it back to the county with a new plan, that's up to him. I mean, I think that's what Mr. Bordeaux did essentially, and at that point in time, you know, the county rendered a separate opinion. I mean, there is nothing separate at this point in time that exists other than.
Because the board hasn't voted on it yet, they just tabled it at that meeting. So
Correct.
So they need a majority plus one if they're gonna grant any variance to those lot sizes, right?
Correct. I mean, can you come back to the county? Sure. I'm not so sure, I mean, I can't, obviously I don't speak for the county planning board, but the letter, I'm not so sure that the proposal changes much of what's contained in that letter, but does it benefit the applicant perhaps to send it back to them? Could. Certainly the additional information in Mr. Bordeaux's application helped them decide it was a local issue and overturn what their initial opinion was that it had a countywide impact. In this particular application, maybe a majority plus one, as it stands now, because of their previous decision.
Okay, but my next question is, on the second application to put the mobile home on, they were showing a sketch here of 132 feet. Now that lot is now down to 111 feet. So where's the side property line in relationship to that mobile home? Going to be, if there's 20 feet of difference there. We were already asking for how many feet?
How close is it to the building?
Well, according to this, the map that he submitted this evening, it said that it's 60 feet to one line, and I think the note says 37 feet to the new property line. Because you can get a 14-foot wide mobile home. So that would add up. If you have 37 feet on one side, according, again, it was taken based upon the sketch, you get 60 feet on one, and you got 37 on the other. What's the rear setback in that area?
So 30 feet, I think.
Okay, he says he has 35. Front setback is?
I want to say it's, well, it's 65 feet.
65 to the center. So it's 40.
Yeah, 40 plus the 25 to the road right away.
Well, that may be an issue because he says he has, according to this sketch, he says he has 55 from the center of the road. So that may not be front yard setback.
Sounds like it needs to be remeasured.
That's, he's here for that variance too.
You have a second application?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has setback is about 15 feet, is that from front yard? Side yard setback.
Why would you need a side yard setback? Well, this is, because that's for the garage.
Front.
Okay, but for the front for the mobile home.
Yes, it was the road, the sides were all right at the time.
5 feet from the center, the road being 10 feet wide. You need a 40-foot setback.
So what's our next step?
Well, you've got two variances in front of you, two separate applications. One to reconstruct the property line whereby there will be two substantial lots created, which is still going to be one way or the other, we're substantial now. But one being substantially, the other one substantially, a little more substantial than they exist. The second application being front yard setback of 10 feet for lot number 54, which is the mobile home. With respect to the variance for the front yard setback, that has not been sent to the county for review, I don't think. Now, is there a reason why it does, does that fall under any 239M requirement that it be sent to them?
Then we get one of the waivers.
There's certain reasons why you have to send it to the county. It would be so many bounded by the
It's
town.
not a county road, there's no ag land there, it's not within 500 feet of the river. I don't think any of the tests to have to send it to the county.
Well, why did the first one go?
First one, I really don't know. I think this started out into the,
These waivers apply to side yard area variances, rear yard area variances, and temporary special permits for homes that say above the front yard.
pretty sure we didn't send it to the county because it didn't meet any of the requirements in the zoning book as far as the county, state highway, parks, things of that nature.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's only certain things that have to be sent to the county under 239M. Has to be within 500 feet of a state road, 500 feet of a historic location, 500 feet of the boundary line of the town,
Wouldn't
ag
this al-
lands, et cetera.
Wouldn't this also need planning board approval, because it's a subdivision of land?
It would.
After.
Yeah,
We have
exactly.
to approve it first, but it will require, planning board approval as well.
Because there has to be a new survey done and new property lines drawn.
Yep. Yeah, subdivision of land.
So the owner can't be in a hurry because it's not gonna go to the planning board. People want time and study this morning.
Have there been any comments from the neighbors?
Do you have any neighbors here? You have one neighbor, I understand. Do you have any problem with this?
I think we're the last supply here that this should go back to the county. Should I look at this? Look at it as far as substandard lots and, creating them. The other version was much harsher than this. As far as making the lots size. I'd like to see it sent back to the county, to see how they, they're going.
That's gonna send back another one.
They gotta go to planning board too.
That has nothing to do with what.
And I think one for the slab, but
Technically, it does.
only one for the slab this fall,
It's all done.
it's all done.
Technically, they really can't move on there until,
So the mobile homes are already on the site.
Oh, yeah?
Doing this for them. The last 3 or 4 things come up before this board, it's already there, so what are we discussing it for?
I think we should send it back to the county.
Well, he's got the cement pad in the trailer. You could send it down here, it's not gonna affect them.
No, the variance for the building back to the county, the property, or both?
I think the first one, the property.
I think if they approve the property, we should approve the trailer.
So the property's application 25507. We need that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Bruce to send it back to the county for their examination, and a second by Joe. Any discussion? Roll call.
Before, the only thing I would add is nothing should be allowed to move on that parcel until we get the approval and/or the approval of the planning board. Because again, the lot they're proposing doesn't exist at this point.
I mean, how did they get the pad on here with the trailer without a building permit?
This is frustrating. I mean, they were here at the last meeting when we went through this with Mr. Bertle, and I thought I was pretty vocal about this, and Bruce was pretty vocal about it. I go out there a week ago, and the pad's poured, and the trailer's on there. I mean, what the hell are we doing here?
No, are they living in it? They don't have a certificate?
No, it's not, there's
They don't have
no,
a building permit, they don't have a certificate of occupancy.
no, my next question is how old is that trailer? Because that is not a new trailer. Supposed to be a new trailer on there.
And it's not a what?
Well, it's gotta be,
76.
after 76.
It's not, you can't go there anyway, so unfortunately, yeah, as discussed, these are an ongoing problems we have with this.
And if we have any question about, whether the 07 needs to go down, does that need to go down for a temporary variance? If that needs to go down too, we need to make a motion to send down now to the county.
I think that's fine. I mean, let's take a look at it and make sure if it does meet the criteria, we can. If it doesn't, we don't need to. It's certainly not part of the waiver agreement that Julie just showed me, because the front yard is not.
Right.
But is it within 500 feet of all those other particular points that have to be met, required to be sent?
No, it doesn't mean anything within the 500 foot of state, county, roads, parks, rivers, streams, or ag land, things of that nature.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. The motion has been modified to send both of them down, not just one. It's needed. So roll call, Bruce,
This is
or any more discussion?
And if we sent the other one, this one should go to. And the other one got sent down to the county,
As Bruce just said.
so we gotta send this one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I thought we maybe just said that we didn't have to send.
05
I
and
thought you
07.
asked me if we needed to send them. We can always send them, but there's criteria. I mean, you can send every application if you want, according to what Mr. Cutter tells me, but there are certain things that if they don't meet that threshold, you don't have to send them.
I think Bruce made the motion to send it.
Yeah.
That's on the table right now.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to send both applications to the county for their examination. Roll call, Bruce, Denise, Joe,
Yeah.
Dan, I vote yes. What recourse do we have instead of just words if people keep violating and just going ahead and doing these things?
Well, initially, we could take them to local courts, but beyond that, because the local courts, when we mean by local courts, I mean like the town court, because there is some teeth in the zoning ordinance which says if the applicant is in violation of a provision of the zoning ordinance, you can be fined up to X number of dollars. And I think it says most ordinances do every week that violation exists is a separate violation. So I can tell you how much the fine is, but
It's
I
$250
think I read
every day.
$750,
it's every day.
6 months of
Ours
prison.
is $250 every day.
Yeah. So
Each is a separate violation.
yeah. So I mean, quite frankly, I think what the town needs to do is to carefully look at that, and I think I'm not trying to single out Mr. Bordeaux or Mr. Tremblay at this point in time, but at some point in time, I think an example needs to be made of somebody that the town is not going to allow this type of activity to continue. You know, people need to come in to see to the town to get building permits, to go through the necessary processes to get approvals for projects. And they can't just go out and do what they want to do because they feel like they want to do it. That's not acceptable. It shouldn't be allowed, and the town should take a stand with respect to that. I don't speak to the town board, but essentially, you know, this type of activity just can't continue because the longer it goes on like this, the more it's going to happen. And as
Yeah,
this
people
board
see
knows.
their neighbors getting away with it, they'll do it too.
And not only that, but if things go along and things happen like that, you're taking money away from the town in the form of building permits, any other fees that could be imposed. But ultimately, if things happen and the town doesn't find out, it's assessments. Assessments that the town doesn't know about, and ultimately, you know, tax revenues that the town doesn't.
And isn't it a safety issue too?
Well, sure. Certainly, if
Inspections.
yeah, if Mickey doesn't have a chance to look at engineered plans for certain things, and somebody gets hurt or whatever, well, that's not, they're not gonna come back on the town. They certainly can come back on the owner of the property if someone gets hurt or injured because of that. But that, it's a check measure, you know, that the town reviews those things to make sure that the things are safe, and to make sure there's not, you know, fire problems or electrical problems or other safety issues, not only with commercial properties, but with, you know, residential properties. You know, it's really you say it's a safety factor.
But I think at some point in time, that's what the town's gonna have to do, with respect to these kind of problems. Is take a stand and do what has to be done.
Okay, the next thing we have, is there any more on that? Next thing we have is
Can I
a,
just say something? I mean, I didn't want to make it seem like I was just going forward without the approval. And the only reason why we did pour the slab was because when we did talk to Mike, he did say he didn't think it would be a problem if we wanted to go ahead and pour the slab. We could go ahead and do it, but if it wasn't approved, we would have to move things back.
I never said you could go ahead and pour the slab. I
You
would
said you
never-
could do it at our own risk, and that if it didn't get approved, we would have to move it the way you wanted it moved, which that's what it comes to, I guess, if you want to do that.
anything else on this? Next thing we have is a public hearing on Ricky Dupra. Ray, variance 25508. Need a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll make a
Taken
motion.
by Denise, seconded by Joe. Roll call, Bruce? Denise?
Yes.
Joe? Hank? I vote yes. This is an area variance at 355 La Valley Road. Previous, says furnished names of adjoining landowners, we have John Dupuy and Sheila Craig. It's a variance of setback amount of 5 feet on each side. Why is the variance necessary? The lot pre-existing non-conforming lot size is 90 feet by 110. It's a 9,900 square feet. I think that's a 9. Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby property? No. Replacing burned building with a newer single-wide mobile home. Can the building or structure be constructed on the lot without an area variance or changing the location of the size or size? No. Lot size is only 990 square feet. Describe impacts, if any, to neighboring properties. None. The residential area. Was the alleged hardship self-created? No. Pre-existing lot size. So we have a diagram again. The location on the Valley Road. Is there any comment from the public?
You said it was a single wide that was going on there?
So it says single wide.
Does it meet the setbacks?
No, that's what they're asking for the variance for.
Right.
And it's 5 feet on each side.
I'm kind of concerned about these homes are pretty close together down there. Last time they had the fire down there, my brother-in-law lived next door to him, and he had to vacate his house and everything else. They were so close, and it's a good possibility it could have burned down.
How close are the buildings?
Well,
Can they show it here? They got 20 feet for the lot line, but it doesn't show the buildings. How close is it to the neighbors?
It's 20 feet from the property line, and from the property line to the other neighbor, it's probably 20 feet or so. I didn't measure it, but they're not right on the property line.
How far is his mobile home going to be though from the other person's
He
home?
said about 40 feet.
40 feet.
40 feet?
Yeah, I'm guessing around 40 feet.
what size is it? What is the length of the trailer?
16, 15 by 16.
Is it 15?
It says 50.
5 men,
50,
50 feet long. And it's a single wide. How wide is it?
14.
14.
This room here's about 40 feet.
Yeah, it's about 40
So it's
feet.
from wall to wall. Seems like tight.
That gives them 20 feet on each side of it, between the two neighbors. Well, it's-
I mean, any place that has a fire, they're gonna evacuate the people on either side of the building. The lines are 10 feet, 100 feet away.
Oh, I understand that.
What year is the mobile?
Well, the setback is within 10 feet of the neighbors on a dwelling, right? on each side.
Setback for what?
Yeah, I mean, off the boundary line, 10 feet off the, anyone's boundary line?
It's got to be 25.
25 feet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
25 feet from the boundary line?
Right. He
You
wants-
don't have that, right?
No, you have 20.
That's why he needs the area variance on each side, because it's proposing 20 on each
I
side.
approve that.
So it's 5 feet less on
Everything,
each side.
everybody's in a rush.
Can't vote on this. It's gotta go to the county. It's a county road without a road.
We all need to consume that.
Has it already been sent to
I
the
think
county?
this is the
That
waiver.
I called Glenn Cutter
Okay, and this-
on it, and he sent us that waiver.
That is a side yard.
That's why
Oh,
we
sorry.
didn't have to,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want
No, it's okay. No,
You probably should say for your coverage. I mean,
I
they don't have
don't
that.
know why it surprises it.
I'm sorry.
You're getting a lot
What
of
year is
surprises.
this? What year is the home?
77. It's all been re-vinyl sided, everything in these codes.
You're absolutely sure it's a 77. There's a sticker on there and everything.
I double checked, I called the trail sales.
Because you're very close to the borderline of the year for the
76 is a cutoff.
Right.
I already checked the trail sales in today.
I think 40 feet between the two buildings is plenty.
What do they have to do to prove that it meets specs? Is that all?
Well, there has to be a sticker on the trailer itself that it'll have the date, the month, and the year that it was constructed. And then there are other things, you can check the panel box for aluminum wiring. It's gonna need an electrical inspection for sure, and just like a regular house would. There's certain things about the windows, jalousie windows you can't have, certain things like that. But the government or the state picked 1976 as the year, so obviously there was a big change in the way they manufactured these things at that time. That's why I was asking, they're so close to the year that they quit. Some of these older places, you can't find a year on them. It's hard.
Do you need a copy of that paperwork?
I usually look right in the trailer. It'll be like a serial number, a seal. It'll have the number of the trailer, where it was manufactured. You know, if it's HUD approved, there's a.
Kind of like the VIN number, huh?
Yeah, very similar to that. Yeah.
So he has to go through everything that, like he's building like a new thing on there, you have to get the sewer inspected there. All
No,
that
it's
stuff too.
existing sewer and well,
Well,
that.
that's a good point, because the way we generally do it, if there was a house on a property and it was occupied, we're assuming there was an adequate sewer there. So if a place burns, or in this case, the place burnt, or somebody demolished it and you want to rebuild another structure, you normally could tap into the same sewer. And I've called the health department about that. They're not exactly too clear on what they want done. This situation here, the well and the septic is 50 feet apart. Today, they got to be 100 feet apart. And, you know, I mean, I don't know what's out there. I'm not an expert in looking for sewers and septics and so on and so forth. I talked to Ricky, he told me he called the health department and they told him he could just extend his leach fields. I personally would want to see something from the health department to that effect.
Yeah, I think you need it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How old was the structure that was under that burn?
It's been there 30, 40 years.
How
I don't
long?
know how long now.
How long ago did it burn?
Or
So recently,
Month,
okay.
yes.
Has the water been tested to see if it's water safe?
Now, you've tested the water?
They had it tested before I bought the place. The water is perfect.
How long ago was that?
About 5, 6 months ago.
I can't say for sure, but as far as I know, I don't even believe that there is any kind of a legal system there whatsoever, and I don't believe there isn't even is a leach field.
Yeah, but there's a lot of illegal systems in the town that were put in.
I understand that.
Before the health department started regulating and stuff,
Right.
which is around 1980. I mean, we can call the health department and ask if there was ever an approval done, but I can almost bet that there wasn't any because it's so old.
Right.
Well, I know my uncle had that place, and I know for a fact that he put a 255-gallon oil drum in there for a septic system.
The thing is, the health department are the people that regulate that. I have nothing to do with septics. I mean, if there's a problem, I can call the health department and I can ask them for documentation, but I don't go out and physically look at people's septics. That's not something that I do. This situation here, because it's a new home, you know, if you contacted the health department and they're comfortable with it and they send me a letter, I'm gonna take it. I mean, I'm not gonna go.
It's not a problem.
A little closer to the well than I would like if I was living there, but.
I should think you'd have it checked because of your own health. Feet, especially every year,
Deteriorate.
it's older and older.
Well, the problem is the lot's only so big, you can situate it crossways, probably get a little more distance out of it, but it's a pre-existing lot of record.
Yeah, it's,
How deep is the lot?
110 feet.
normally, we need 40,000 square feet. This lot has just shy of 10,000, so it is considerably smaller than what's allowed today, you know, as far as building.
But it's, yeah, it's a pre-existing lot of record, we don't have any jurisdiction over it. I think it's different than the Champlain application before if they want to do something on those lots as they exist, well, they could, as long as they met all the setbacks. If they want to change the lot lines to accommodate other things, that's when it comes back into our jurisdiction.
Okay, any more comments from the public? There's still a public hearing, right?
Yes. Can you grant a variance without having all the proper questions answered? The year of the mobile home, can you grant a variance with so many questions?
I would think if we modified the motion to include if all those requirements were met.
Those are building code issues, not zoning board issues.
And he did give us the year, if you just have, you just don't have the year.
I mean, quite frankly, if he can't prove to Mr. Tatro that it's a post-1976 trailer, it's not going to go on there regardless.
Right.
So it's not really, again, it's not really a zoning board issue. What we're looking at, I mean, there are issues that have to be met, requirements that have to be met to obtain an area variance, which are contained in the zoning law. Obviously, the board knows what they are. We do those before. But to say, you know, issues of what the county health department is going to do, or issues about what the year of the trailer is, that's not really something we have any control over. Those are building code issues, which have to be supplied to Mr. Tatro, and he has to be comfortable with it before he'll give them a certificate of occupancy.
Is the trailer there?
No.
For
No, he's doing it the right way.
That's number one on your side.
No, actually, he was quite diligent about taking care of the burned building that was there. It wasn't there long. He got rid of it, cleaned up the site. The well is exposed. It's a drilled well, so everything's all right with that.
I think the only reason why I bring up anything with the water and stuff is just for safety. And that's just for your own benefit. If something's burnt on there, you don't know if debris is in your water, if it's in your sewer. And I think I want to get those checked before I sell them or something.
So you haven't had a check since the fire?
Clean up and get the building if a lot of stuff here.
I will
Just
say-
trying to beat the weather for the slab part is what I'm trying to do.
I mean, I will say this about the application. I mean, if you look at the dimensions and everything, I mean, trying to figure out how far it would be from Center. There isn't really another, just because of the size of the lot, there really isn't any place that you can put the mobile home on the lot that would probably comply as to where this is. If he moves it back, or you can't move it either side unless he had a smaller mobile home, which I guess is an option. But I don't know. I don't claim to be a mobile home expert, so I don't know what sizes they make them. But
50 feet's the smallest.
I was going to say, I don't think they make them much smaller.
I didn't even know that they made a bit, a single wide one, you cut the feet long, usually the 60, 65. I didn't
That
know it.
old it would have.
Huh?
That old it would have.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That includes the home. It's actually not 50.
No, probably
It's
about 46.
53 feet with the tongue, but the tongue comes off.
I don't think a 5-foot request on each side is too outrageous.
Oh, I mean, he complies with the front yard, that's why he's putting it 65 feet off the road, so he doesn't need a front yard variance. 110 feet deep.
So it's fine and right?
So you could go 40 plus 14, and you got plenty of time. So, I mean, it moves it much further back, then he's got an issue with where his septic is going to be.
The grade of the land slopes from the back of the mobile home back to back property line. so as far as protection from your well and your septic, I mean, apparently it's a shallow well there, it's only around 40 feet deep, so there's not a lot of groundwater that's going to seep in at 60 or 80 feet below the surface.
So the topography helps that a little bit
Yeah.
too.
Anyway, each 5 foot each side.
Okay, we have to make a motion to go out of the public hearing. So move, second, Joe? Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Yep.
Pam? I vote yes. Okay, now we are considering application 25508, which we just discussed. Any more comment from?
Pretty well explained.
I think in light of the fact that Mr. Dupre has done all of his homework in order, then we should approve it.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
We have a motion to approve by Joe, second. Pam? Roll call, Bruce? Denise?
Yes.
Joe?
Yep.
Pam?
Yes.
I vote yes. Approved unless the sticker on the side causes paperwork problems.
That's up to 77.
Now we have an old application, Ernie and Loretta Zenith. I don't have that paperwork. When did that come in? Way back. I can go way back because I was rushing.
Well, it's a temporary mobile home that you renew every year.
This is from
This is
last week.
the yacht basin
Yes,
along the
basically,
river.
Should I run and get my notes back in my class?
No.
I don't think we need to. Is anyone here to discuss that besides the owners? No neighbors or anything? Is there a need to read it all the way through? They want to put they want permission to continue the travel trailer to live in until as their business flourishes and construct a permanent residence later on. Is that what I understand?
Yes. This is the first application.
No, this is
This is
last year.
Yeah, I think this would be the last year right
It
here
is.
for the 5 years.
Yeah.
We would use this on a part-time basis, but actually working on the marina. We both have full-time jobs in Stowe, so our schedules vary greatly from week to week. This year, we plan to put fencing and flowers on the roadside of the camper, so that the...
That's an old one, yeah.
So-
We've moved it since then.
Yeah, okay.
They moved it up next to one of the buildings across the road from the marina, has septic available, well, it's back.
And it's all connected with power and everything now.
Ridden by boats most of the year.
How long more do you intend to stay in the trailer?
Well, things are getting better, and we're still putting more money into the business than
We're getting out,
we're
but
taking out.
probably, we're looking at maybe 2 or 3 years. When we started, we had 3 boats. This past year, we've increased to 65, and we have it for 150, so we've grown quite a bit in the 5 years that we've been there.
I think the trouble is we can only do this for 5 years, and we're on the 4th. Fifth.
Have you ever thought about possibly in the back of the gray building, or what that gray building is, making a small apartment? And that would,
One of our,
for next year, because we really don't like to go over 5 years. I think that's all.
Doesn't set a good example for other people who don't have.
Something to look at.
After listening here tonight, believe me.
And, something maybe talk to Nikki on, but just possibly make it an area there, because you got your water and sewer right there.
Yeah.
Make it a permanent living for.
Apartment to the building house and stuff, they've been very good. Great that you're doing what you're doing down there.
It's better every time we go by.
That'd be a
We're trying.
consideration, maybe. I make the motion to accept this for one more year.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the request to keep the trailer there for 1 more year. Roll call. Bruce? Denise?
Yes.
Joe?
Yeah.
Pam? I vote yes. So you got it for 1 more year.
Thank you very
Then
much.
we're gonna have to be...
We promise not to do anything until we check with you guys.
You you working on that apartment?
We are, we'll talk with Mickey next spring when we come back. We're headed home for the winter now. So we'll talk to him when we get back next spring and see what we can work out.
We promised to get our applications in order.
We're getting frustrated.
You can see why. Thank you very much.
Okay, we need the approval of minutes of October 20th. Anyone have any? I already checked it over with Julie. All right, we have a motion by Bruce to accept the minutes as written. Seconded by Denise. Roll call, Bruce. Denise? Joe?
Yeah.
Pam? Not saying it, and I vote yes. Anything new business to come up before the board? Do you have any?
I had notification that I had an application for subdivision approval that was up for tonight at 6 o'clock.
The planning board, someone didn't
planning
get
board, I
back
don't
to
know
the
that's,
planning board.
They come next.
Okay, so I have nothing for you.
There was no meeting this month for the planning board because there was only that one that was waiting. And they had, they let me know that there was no meeting this month.
So they're not meeting tonight?
They're not meeting tonight because it's just the one. Well, he didn't come to the meeting when it was the one.
If there's no new business, we have a motion by Bruce to adjourn, seconded by Denise. Roll call, Bruce? Denise? Joe?
Yeah.
Pam?
Yep.
And I vote yes, and thank God this meeting's over.
Are we gonna have a meeting in December, or do we not have a meeting in December?
Oh, we're waiting.